Sims is super sharp to be in that situation, he's still staying like, that's part of his aura, that's part of his thing. It's like, he still stays as clean as possible. That's, some people need that as part of their, like, oomph, and that's who Sims is. Like me, Rashid, Common, I could be a little more rugged at times, but Sims is sharp. Sims is really going through some moments where he's being broken down in a way, like broken down in the way that he's being challenged by the things that he already believes, but also he is really trying to get to a position where he could do more in the silo as Bernard's shadow, and he's getting resistance for that, and he really believes he can he has the mindset and experience and the intuition to help save the silo and keep order in the silo, but Bernard is not agreeing in that way. And Camille Sims' wife, Camille Sims, is his. That's his, like, he bounces a lot of things off her. He listens to her. She's a powerful and very intelligent person and woman. So, and everywhere he's going, he's getting that resistance, but he has that partner. So you find these different aspects and dimensions of Sims now, seeing him with his wife and his son, and it's beautiful. I love, because everybody knew Sims as, they felt like, yo, this is the enforcer. But it's more to him than that. He's a human being, and I felt really great when friends I knew who first would be like, man, we hate Sims, man. It's Sims, man. Why you doing that? Why you doing that? People take it as you doing that. Why are you doing that? But then they was like, man, I'm starting to feel for Sims as the season went along. So now you get to know him even more. Potential rebellion. It's a potential of a rebellion. And that's what's cooking up. And that's what Sims is. If a rebellion happens, everybody may die. We have never experienced a rebellion during our lifetime, but what we know of rebellions, that's when silos have gotten wiped out. So that's basically like a nuclear bomb for what we know. Like, it's like a bomb that could destroy the world. A rebellion could be that to us, and we just don't want it to happen. So we're figuring out ways, myself and Bernard. But it's something when Bernard is a superior to, as far as position and ranking in the silo, but when you're superior and somebody you've been dedicated to and committed to and shown your worth is not valuing you, and kind of pushes you to the side and puts you in a position where you can't really do as much, it's stunting. It messes not only with the work you could do, but even your own, like, belief in yourself. And Sims is experiencing some of that. So you get to see some of the doubts in Sims and the struggles, which I love. What if Sims just got on the piano? Y'all would be like, yo, what is this dude doing? But I think he would be a good pianist, though. Like, I think he could be like Herbie Hancock, or one of those greats like D'Angelo, Robert Glasper, those guys.
I think just season 1 set the world, didn't it? So we get used to the world of being in the silo and people starting to ask their questions. And then season 2, they get the answers to those questions, but it probably just leads to more questions. So yeah, more mystery, more intrigue. What's more to come? Yeah. I think there's going to be political intrigue, personal intrigue, people trying to find their way. I think obviously she's back in touch with Martha. So yeah, they're trying to work out their relationship and also work out where they stand in the silo, if what they've always believed is true, and what the future holds. Oh, it was great. I mean, it's great working with Harriet, because I've seen Harriet, obviously in the theatre and stuff, and we got friends in common. So I was like, I wonder who's going to be playing Martha, and then, dream come true. So yeah, and everyone's fantastic, directors. You just feel really looked after working for Apple, basically. I love it. I love a bit of action, so I like, running up and down the stairs. And we had some quite emotional stuff. It's quite understated and emotional. But it's great playing such a complex, interesting character, especially as an older woman, to be playing a character. She's, Martha's her ex-wife, but, she's not anybody's wife. She's in a position of power within the silo. She's in a managerial position. It's, it's great.
Graham and Rebecca called me and pitched me this character, and I read season 2, and I was floored by it, as well as the prospects of playing this guy. And then I saw the season. I saw season 1 before it was finished, and was a huge fan, thought it was brilliant. And so to be asked, to join something that's already established and tonally amazing and beautifully acted and looks amazing and was a thrill. It was actually daunting. I was really nervous about it, but, spoiler alert, at the end of 1, she, exits her silo and sees that her world is a lot bigger than she thought. And that leaves you hanging, and then she finds me. And, it's not hard math to kind of figure it out. But I'm a very unique character in that I've been alone for decades, and so we're these two introverted people that meet each other, and there's this story happening in 17, and in 18 there's another story that's exploding. We shot in order, so it was really fun. I mean, Rebecca and I thought we felt like we were doing some really interesting, absurd play, some Beckett or Pinter, and it was just a blast. I mean, there's so many. I loved when my character was really vulnerable and childlike, and it was just fun to play. I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm an actor. Graham can answer those questions because he's the writer. He's the creator, but. I don't know. I mean, I don't even like sci-fi, really. I've never watched Star Trek. But this kind of sci-fi is a completely different thing. And I relate to it. It's a little bit scary because it's something that could happen realistically. So that's what gives it that weight. But I don't know. It's a really good show.
It's full to the brim, yeah. It's full of action from the word go. I mean, the moment it starts, we've got such a strong catalyst with Juliette leaving the silo for the first time, but Shirley, for sure, is just all guns blazing, yeah. She doesn't skip a beat. Oh, it's amazing. We get on so well, and everyone's so about the work as well. We feel so privileged to be working with these characters, and Graham and Hugh and all the writers and Rebecca, they've just created this world that we get to play in, and it's magical, yeah. Yeah, so many. I think with Shirley and Knox, they go on this beautiful journey where they are full of frustration and full of rage and energy. And that's on a large scale, you know, they're rallying up everyone in the silo, but they also have these gorgeous, tender moments where they can be quieter and show their vulnerability and that they don't always get it right. And I think the contrast of that is just pitched so well. Apple TV Plus has got some of the best shows at the moment, you know, the quality, the cast, the detail. I love watching it. And to be in a show like this, which adds to the roster, is just, yeah, dream come true.
Oh man, it's very hard to say without ruining things, but I think Lukas is very much from the pot into the frying pan, into the fire, into the hellfire. You know, he kind of just keeps finding himself in one situation after another that's worse and worse. But that's, you know, how you build character. So I think people will be very excited to see what happens to him and how far he rises or falls, you know? Yeah. Look, I think, you know, season 1 was an amazing story that set up all these characters in the world we live in. And season 2 has kind of put everybody into a massive conflict. And I think 3 and beyond, things just get bigger and more complicated and hopefully better. So, you know, that's the best that I think I could tease. Oh, it's amazing. I mean, look at us right now. Like, everyone would rather just kind of hang out with each other than take the photo on their own. And that's when you know you're around a good group of people. So it's a lot of fun, you know. It's a joy to kind of go to work. And I think all it really is ever is, who do I get to do something with today, you know? And we kind of all wish we got to do everything together, but they're characters in different parts of the silo, different parts of the world, and so we don't get to do that. But that's a great sort of joy and desire that all the actors have. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's a great place to come to work, and we tell, I think, really fascinating stories. So if I'm excited to read it and make it, I only hope that people are as excited to see it.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, the first season was about kind of rediscovering a relationship with his daughter. And I think I was drawn to the role partly because it's quite a cold world, the world of the silo, and there seemed a real warm kind of underbelly to their story, to their history. And part of the nature of the silo is people are kept apart, kept from sort of properly understanding, so they kind of rediscover each other, which is really lovely. And then the second season, is kind of, I'm kind of on my own without her, I suppose. But it's a lovely journey, and I got to work with, different actors on this one, with Carmen and Tim, and it was great fun. It's such a well-mounted series. I think the novels are brilliant, and I think Apple have just done the best job at adapting them. I think it's such a strong show, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. Yeah. There are, yeah. It's, the kind of central mystery remains, and you kind of, and I think that sustains all the way through. So it can be perceived, and what makes it such good drama is it can be perceived in lots of different ways. But I think it speaks to us today, without getting too earnest about it. I think, we live in a very, slightly unstable, scary world, and we don't quite know, what the truth is and what isn't the truth. It's a constant, something I wasn't aware of 10 years ago. You read a fact and you knew where it was, and now that's kind of, and that. This series kind of captures that, I think, in a quite a disturbing way. Oh, just a really, really strong entertainment. I think it's unlike any other show. I do the world that it's made is very, very different. So it's kind of very all-encompassing. I think Silo. It's like doesn't remind me of anything else. So it's just a very fine piece of drama. It's a thriller. It's exciting. Funny along the way, and tells you a little bit about the world that we're living in a strange way.
But I feel like everybody's kind of like, the show takes no prisoners. Everybody's in it, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's quite a wild ride. I mean, the journey from episode 1 to episode 10 for Knox he's a different guy by the end. I'm pretty excited for people to see it. I mean, I think we all get along so well. It's kind of crazy. So there were constant jokes, but part of the joy, I think, was that we got to play these intense moments, these apocalyptic setting, and then we could have a break and go just joke around. What was my favorite moment? I mean, there was a ton of them. Episode 10 is a really special episode too. I think it's gonna blow people's minds. 100%.
Yeah, some of the stuff in 10 is like wild, and the energy of a bunch of people who really like each other, who also care about the story, is pretty intoxicating, at least for us, and hopefully for the audience. I believe it will be for the audience too. I think it's all chaos and destruction and payoff. Yeah.
It keeps coming. I mean, the world that Hugh built and then Graham has developed you just keep peeling away the layers, and there's always more underneath.
I will add, and then you have these surprisingly beautifully touching moments in the midst of it that catch you by surprise, and they break your heart. So I think that's really special.
Yeah. Community and truth, and how those things intersect. And it's not always easy. It's not always easy to, at the beginning of the season, Shirley and Knox are on very opposite sides. Shirley's ready to burn the place down, and Knox thinks that if we follow the rules, we're going to be okay. And it turns out neither one of them are right. It's not a black and white thing.
I think Paul keeps wanting more and more information, and the truth is, you have to make a choice and there will be consequences. No matter how you add the thing, it will come at a cost, but you still have to make a choice. And I think that's his main thing for this season, because he starts making some.
We think we're telling a really good story, and we're really happy with the year. I just think that all the characters are engaged, and it's two really great stories. One is an Odysseus story about whether Juliette's going to get home again, and then we have a story about an uprising in the other silo. So I think it's a really good year. Well, you have to tune in and watch, but I think she goes through an ordeal, and we want to see if she's going to survive or not. And she is a survivor, but it's a tough world she's entering. I think this series is emotional. I think it's exciting. I think characters in dramatic situations, and I think it kind of raises the stakes about 100-fold. I love working for Apple. I've known the Apple people for a long time, and they're very supportive, and we're very pleased. I think they're very pleased with the second season.
That's a very nice thing to say. Well, listen, I think that we had to aim for that we wanted it. One thing, we didn't have to set up the world. We'd already done that heavy lifting in season 1. And so we could just now dive into the story. And we also had the expansion of the story with Juliette's adventure over in another silo that's dead, and she meets Steve Zahn. Not called that, but, so we had these different stories that we could bounce back and forth. And I think that and being able to dive into the characters' lives even more really helped us. Speaking for the writers, we had a lot of fun writing this season, and then to see it come to life is just it's a thrill. So the Juliette story, for all the big beats of it, are pretty much there in Hugh's book, and it's the second half of the first book. So the first season was the first half, right up to Juliette going out over the hill and disappearing. And the way we did the uprising was a little bit different than Hugh did it, partly because we had set up some characters in a different way, and we need to dive into their lives. But it's still an uprising, and the best review, I don't know how people are going to receive this, but the best review we've got is that Hugh and his wife loved it. So they watched it a couple times. So it's like, that's the most important thing. It's a really cooperative and community-like set. I'm sure a lot of people say that, but they all enjoy working together. And so, but they're also embracing. So when Zahn joined. It was basically just him and Rebecca for a big stretch of time. And Rebecca and I got on a Zoom with Steve when we were wanted to hire him and trying to talk him into it. We already had him. We didn't know that, but we already had him. He was dying to do it. They just hit it off. So they had so much fun working together. That, you know, it's a cool deal. The other part of it was expanding the actual sort of physical world. So we see this other silo, this dead silo. And Nicole Northridge, our production designer, did an amazing job with figuring out how that would look. So, you know, it was a weird year, right? It's the strikes. I saw episodes and I never saw any of the water tanks. I was there for that. But when you have the directors that we have, so Michael Dinner and Eric Avellino and Amber Templemore, you're in good hands. It's going to be good. You know, there's a lot of secrets. My pledge is that we'll continue to, you know, find new secrets, new mysteries, but that we will, if we get the chance to do the whole thing, we will answer all the mysteries. Because we're no interest in leaving people hanging. I mean, Hugh did it in the books, so we owe the story that.
You try to open the door again, and I'm gonna kill you.